good morning and afternoon and evening to all the viewers watching us from all parts of the world. This is the third session of e-commerce PPC week, and tonight we've got with us Victor and David, and we're going to talk about a really interesting topic. But before that, I'll introduce my guest. But before that, let me recap a bit that in the first session, we talked about Amazon PPC, and primarily we talked about which campaign and match types should we go with. And in the second session, we talked about why Amazon PPC fails. But tonight, we are going to talk about, and the topic for tonight is Amazon PPC the only solution? Or do we have any other option? For example, can we go with Facebook ads or maybe Google ads or even TikTok ads? And what our experts think about that? And we're going to start with Victor. He is the Vice President of Advertising at Piranha, and we'll let him introduce himself and later on answer my question that according to him, what's the difference between all these platforms and which one does he recommend? So all over
Yeah,
to you.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for the intro. Yeah, so basically, I am the VP of marketing for Piranha. Basically, I help go to conferences, do podcasts, things like that, and really help our clients, our Amazon sellers, basically increase their sales at the end of the day. And we do that through Amazon ads, Amazon account management. And there's a lot of ways, as you know, to increase sales on Amazon. And as Q4 CPC start to rise, as you guys know, you need some type of external traffic strategy within there. And that's where you can leverage Facebook, leverage Instagram, or leverage TikTok to basically guide that traffic to Amazon. And there are basically two different ways you can do that. You can either use influencers, meaning that you get a TikTok influencer and they post a video of your product and then you post that out, or you do it directly through ads. And so far, what we're seeing is TikTok influencers, that be the most effective way to distribute and get the most sales on Amazon. But if you were wanting to do it through ads, Facebook and Instagram are the best way to distribute through ads. So far, when sending traffic to Amazon is what we're seeing so far. So yeah.
So Victor, what do you think that if I bring traffic to my Amazon listing from TikTok, do you think the conversion rates are good, or you think that the audience over there on TikTok is not a serious are serious buyers? What do you think about that?
They really are. I have a client that you see this on the Amazon PPC side for sure. That all of a sudden we'll see like a $20,000 increase in one day, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Victor, that was just because of a random TikTok ad that or TikTok went viral." And the virality of TikTok is really insane, especially if you have that type of product that is that type of has that type of trendiness and that virality. Not all products are designed for TikTok, but yes, to answer your question, there is a lot of buying power on TikTok, more than most people think. There's a lot of you'll be surprised the how many 20 to 35-year-olds are on TikTok with buying power, and you really see the effect of a lot of people purchasing when going to TikTok when you send the traffic correctly. You can't just, for example, put the link, the Amazon link of your Amazon product page on your TikTok and then expect sales through that. You have to have a landing page in between, because you'll see almost a a three times increase in conversion rate by having a landing page in between the TikTok platform landing page to your Amazon page. So it's really important that you have that landing page in there.
All right, so I'll ask David the same question, but before that, I'll introduce David. David is a creator at Amazon Scaling System. Is that right?
Right.
So I've
That's
got
right.
the same question for you, David.
Which was exactly?
The question we have right now is which platform do you
Okay.
recommend, whether Amazon ads or any other?
Well, I mean, of course, I'm always going to go for Amazon ads first. That's my big thing. But who can deny the power of TikTok these days? So I've also heard a lot of stories. I personally haven't got into it too much yet, but I mean, you hear so much about on LinkedIn, on, even though Amazon attribution doesn't really work properly yet, apparently, and it doesn't really show the conversions fully yet. You hear a lot about the brand searches going up, incredibly after your TikTok ads go viral. And even though they might not click on the video links of these TikTok ads, they will still search for the brand on Amazon, and suddenly, you have that amazing brand boost. So who's going to deny that? But still, at the end of the day, I'm an Amazon PPC guy, and I love Amazon PPC for the simplicity, really, and for the conversions that you're just going to get with Amazon ads and nothing else, really.
So I've got a frequently asked question for both you guys, that what keyword research methods do you recommend, whether we go for Amazon PPC or any other one like TikTok? David?
If keyword research matters?
Yeah.
When doing...
Okay.
What do you mean? I'm not sure I understood the...
No. I mean that for Amazon, Google, Facebook, or TikTok, whichever platform you recommend, can you recommend a keyword research method apart from TikTok? I mean, for Amazon PPC or Facebook or Google?
I mean, I don't have any secret methods here. I just use Helium 10, to be honest, but there's many tools out there, many free tools as well. Okay. Nowadays with the Amazon Product Opportunity Explorer, Brand Analytics, of course, and third-party tools, Sonar. So I would, use different sources, and then in the end, it's all about the human brain going through the list of keywords and actually picking the relevant ones.
So what, according to you, is the most important KPI when looking at these ads?
So when looking at the ad performance, that's difficult to say. That you usually have to look at many of them, TACoS being one of the most important ones. But actually, what I wanted to talk about today is the one KPI you should look at before starting ads.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I'm just going
to
try sharing my screen.
Yep.
So you should see my screen now.
Yeah, we can.
Cool. So basically the question is, when you have this whole list of ASINs, right, you're taking over an account maybe, and you're asking yourself, okay, where should I spend my money and where should I invest time? Where am I going to get the most out of this ASIN, right, by spending money on ads? Then typically, you have a lot of people, of course, looking at revenue. That's kind of the first thing they look at. And yes, you're not, too wrong trying to protect those top sellers. Of course, you're going to have to start some protection ads there. But typically, and I'm going to show that on a little slideshow here.
All right.
What I like to look at is not just the conversion rate, but let's have a look at this example. We have two products. We have a pack of croissants and we have a pricey tech device. And here the conversion rate is 50% in the first one and 25% the second. Now, obviously, if we only know this information, we're going to go for the first product, right? But let's have a look at this. The price for the first product is $10 and the price for the second $2 is $60. So what does that mean? Well, of course, the conversion rate can be very high for one of those ASINs, but the price could theoretically be $1 and you're not making any money out of those conversions, right? So these two metrics put together, conversion rate and price, is the revenue per session. And that means here, the revenue per session is actually 3 times lower than over here, right? So this just means, so if my revenue per order, which is basically the price, I get per order $10, and if the conversion rate is 50%, it means basically divided by 2, revenue per session is 5. And here, same mathematics. I'm not going to go into too much detail now, but it's 3 times higher. So if you know these numbers, you're going to go for the second product. However, and this is already quite advanced if you're using revenue per session, but that still is not the main metric you should look at, because of course revenue is really kind of an empty metric if you don't consider your break-even ACOS. So
Yep.
let's have a look at this third product. Here, actually the conversion rate is lower than the second. The price is also lower, so the revenue per session is still lower. But if we look at the break-even ACOS, which is of course basically the margin without the PPC costs, here this third product, the elderly skincare, has a break-even ACOS of 60%. Now, that of course means from all of that revenue that we get, from all of that revenue that we get, we are keeping much more in this third product. And again, this is going to be a simple calculation for my final metric, and this is the one really you should basically always look at. I call it the profit per session. You could also call it profit per click, but then that would be confusing, right? PPC. So let's stay with profit per session. And here you can see, right, the third product is actually the one you should be focusing on. You're getting more profit per session than this second product simply because you are keeping so much more from that revenue per session. Okay. So basically that's in the end how it looks like. You have this profit per session column that I basically use every time I start a new account, right? And these are the metrics you should then figure out, especially break-even ACOS. And yeah, so,
All right.
Any questions on that one? I hope that
Yeah.
wasn't too quick.
Let me see if you got any questions.
So now I just have to figure out how to stop
Okay.
the screen. Oh, you did it for me. Perfect.
Okay. So I've got a question for David. David, we had a session with Neil Toa recently, and he mentioned that the role of a good product is really essential, it's really significant before we go with advertising. But you are a vice president of advertising, so I assume you get a lot of clients that have a product that doesn't have the right creatives, that isn't the right product that the customers are looking for. So do you recommend your client that maybe they should change something in the product, or what do you do, or what is your strategy basically?
Did you ask me or the vice president? Because I'm not a vice
I
president.
asked the vice president. I asked Victor.
Good.
Okay, I'm referred as the vice president. Awesome. Okay, so can you repeat the question? Sorry. I thought that was for
I
David.
can repeat it. Yeah, it's for Victor. So since you are the vice president, you get a lot of clients. But I was approached by some clients recently, and they had a product that didn't provide the solution that the customers were looking for, and the creatives they had were not good enough. So according to you, what should be the message to such clients?
So it really comes down to like we're very picky with the clients we bring on, making sure that we can actually scale them. So like obviously we have to make sure that it's market tested is how we like to say it. So for example, if the product they launch is getting really bad reviews naturally, then most likely it's not going to be a very effective product to scale. So we normally don't take those products because it doesn't answer their solution. So usually we like to balance it out, and at least if they do have a problematic product, usually we have to communicate that to the customer. It's very important to like most people always communicate the positive about their product, but almost no one communicates the negatives. But that's very important to communicate that to the customer and putting it in your infographics and things like that, saying, hey, here's why our product's good. Here's why it isn't good. Because you don't want to have it on the back end where you're getting negative reviews because you didn't communicate that. That would be an issue. But if you say on the front end saying, hey, our product sucks because it has this A, B, and C, and now you communicate that to the customer, and now they expect to have that missing piece, whatever it may be. Obviously, the perfect thing would be to fix it. But if you can't, then it's really important to communicate that to your customer. Totally agree.
All right, I've got the same question for you, David.
Yeah, I mean, that's always one of the harder conversations to just tell
Yeah.
people, okay, this is product is just not ready, or I cannot work with that. And yeah, there's no way around it. You just have to
Okay,
tell it how
so
it is.
can you give some tips on what you recommend is a good landing page? Like when you land on a page, like what's the one thing that you like a tip? Maybe the main image, maybe the A plus content. What do you think is the most important?
Well, I'm not sure about the most important, but certainly the images to me are, yeah, more important than bullet points. More important, I think, I mean, when it comes to conversion, at least, of course, bullet points and title are more important again for SEO and indexing and stuff like that. But the images really, it's the only thing people look at mostly, at
Yeah,
least
yeah.
in my opinion.
So,
So
so
that of
I've
course includes A plus content.
So I've got another question that if you talk about the campaign types on Amazon, the sponsored products, the brands, and display, so there are a lot of options we have got there. But according to your experience, which one do you think has the best conversion rate, according to you?
What were the options?
Sponsored products,
Ah,
sponsored
yeah,
brands, sponsored display?
yeah. I mean, sponsored products typically converts the best, although that it can be different on different accounts and different products. But yeah, I mean, sponsored products is the thing you start out with in general, and then you
Okay,
go from
so
there.
if we got a very competitive niche, and let's say the bids are too high for if we want to do Amazon PPC, so my question is, can we skip Amazon PPC and just go with, for example, TikTok? For,
Yeah, you have to. I mean, sometimes there's just no profitable advertising. So that's exactly the kind of situation where you have to look outside of Amazon ads.
okay, so I've got the same question for Victor. Like, can we skip Amazon PPC while launching a product and go with Google, Facebook, or TikTok?
So, okay, first thing is Amazon PPC will always be the have the highest conversion rate. There's no doubt. Like because most PPC campaigns, you'll get almost like a 20 to 25% conversion rate. And usually in other social media ads, you get a 3% click-through rate. So, that's insane. Like Amazon is the holy grail of advertising. Like let's just get that out of the way. But if you are in super competitive categories where you're like in supplements or these like horrible categories where it's extremely competitive, you're paying $10 plus per click, whatever it may be, then you do need an external strategy in place. That's what I would recommend if you are having that super competitive environment, especially in Q4 when usually CPCs tend to double depending on what category you're in. It gets insane. That's when you start looking at external strategies to get an extra level of scale. Um, and rather than spending, let's say, $100,000 on Amazon, for example, per month, you might spend 70,000 on Amazon and then spend that 30,000 toward influencer campaigns, 30,000 toward Google campaigns, whatever it may be. Usually, my hierarchy of social media campaigns usually goes from like TikTok influencers is my number one right now, and then I do second, probably Facebook ads, and then my third being Google ads. I have seen clients do really success with Google ads to Amazon, but it's very, very rare that I see that be more effective than Amazon. I usually see the Google ads almost double the cost of what it takes to get an Amazon sale. So meaning that let's say if you have a 15% ACOS on Amazon, that means you're going to have about a 30% ACOS on Google. That's what that basically means. And I very rarely see a social or social or Google campaign be more profitable than Amazon ads unless the category is super competitive. That's really the only case because of that conversion rate. So hopefully that's
All
valuable.
right. All right, all right. Victor, if we are doing Google Ads, so which match type would you recommend? Whether it's the exact one, broad, or would you go with long tail keywords while launching a product, or high search volume ones with the exact match?
So with Google's cost per clicks are usually a lot less. So as long as the keyword's valuable, I never go with broad on Google. I almost always go with phrase or exact. Because the Google algorithm's just weird and it'll pick random stuff in there and I don't want. So I usually go with phrase or exact in Google. And then with Amazon, I'm a little bit different. I usually with keyword wise, I don't use keyword campaigns too much because that's the most popular one. I usually change the format. So product targeting right now usually kills it for clients. And the reasoning for that is because everyone's talking about keyword campaigns, and I do what everyone's not doing. So product targeting is killing it right now, which no one knows because no one's using them. So basically, I go by format. I don't really go by match type, meaning that I'm going to test sponsor brand video. I'm going to test sponsor display. I'm going to test sponsored product targeting. I'm going to test sponsored product keyword targeting. All four of those I'm going to test and see which ACOS is. And from there, I start playing around and investing more budget, whatever is being most cost effective. So I don't really focus on keyword campaigns that best answer your question. I focus on the format. So that's the difference.
All right. All right. So my question for David was, which I'm going to ask you now, that on Amazon, we've got three campaign types. I'm going to ask this to Victor, sorry. Victor, this one is for you, that on Amazon, we've got three campaign types: sponsored products, brands, and display. So what you think has the best conversion rate? Is it the sponsored display one because you just mentioned the product targeting?
So I think sponsored brand video has the highest conversion rate typically, because it gets like a whole row. It gets a whole row on desktop and it gets two rows on on mobile. And usually you can have a crappy video and still get like a 20 to 25% conversion rate, where a sponsored product placement would only have like a 5 to 10% conversion rate. So typically, sponsored brand video has the top conversion rate, but the placement's harder to get to. If you have a lot of competitors on it, you're not going to get any impressions because you're not going to win the placement. So you have to have really high bids on it usually. But usually, once you do get that placement, you have a very high conversion rate. So I'd go sponsored brand video, number one, then sponsored product, number two, then sponsored display. And previously, sponsored display has not been very profitable for clients. Lately, I've been seeing more and more clients it becoming more profitable. I don't know why. I haven't been seeing any new placements. I would test that out. Let me know if it's becoming more profitable for you guys. But so far, sponsored display is surprisingly, I'm getting like 30 to 40% ACOSs on my sponsored display, which previously I've only gotten like 80% sponsored display. So I would test that placement out recently. I don't know why in the last few months it's been super profitable for me. So super weird. Don't know why, but I would test it out.
Product targeting or like retargeting or everything?
Sponsor display audiences specifically.
Audiences.
I tested sponsor display product targeting, sponsor display keyword targeting, and sponsor display audience targeting. Audience is the only one that's performing well right now. And I don't know why. I think it's because of like lack of competitors. I don't know, but like David, just tell me, let me know, test it out, let me know, because I have like it's weird. It's happening across all my accounts, so I don't know why. I don't know if Amazon's testing it, but
Yeah.
something is
To
happening.
be honest, I've been neglecting the audiences a bit.
I know.
So I'm gonna go in there now.
Everyone launches them. They're like, oh yeah, these are crappy, and then no one else used them after that, and all of a sudden I'm getting really good ACOSs on it. So I have no idea why. So just test it out.
All right. So I'm going to ask Victor another question, which is the most popular one in our community, which is like, do you have any product launch method? For example, many people recommend to go with the keyword targeting and target high search volume keywords, and then you can target ASINs with low BSRs, and you can target some keywords on Google. So, do you have any strategy like that that you can recommend us?
So a few things on that is I Amazon algorithm right now highly cares about sales velocity. How much money are you putting in Amazon's wallet? I just made this LinkedIn post actually. Like Amazon algorithm really cares about sales velocity right now. So with that in mind, your goal is to increase the sales as much as possible. And if you find that through long tail keywords or high velocity keywords, it doesn't really matter as long as you're getting the sale. on that side. I will say though, on the Google, by sending Google traffic to Amazon, Google will increase your rank 3 times more than an average than Amazon search. What that means is if you have a dog toy, for example, and you type in the word dog toy on Amazon, if someone goes and buys that product, your organic rank is going to increase a little bit. But if someone types dog toy on Google and purchases your product through Google and gets to Amazon, you'll see a 3 times increase in that, meaning that you'll go from a little bit of an increase to a huge increase by sending that traffic from Google to Amazon. So just keep that in mind. So basically, if I were to develop a launch strategy, I would invest as much in Amazon PPC as possible, so that way you get that conversion rate. I would set aside a small amount for Google to Amazon campaigns, and then I would not invest in TikTok or external strategies yet until you're at full scale. Like I have clients that come to me and they're like working on a product launch strategy and things like that. TikTok is for the people that are going to try to go from 1 million to 10 million. It's not going from 0 to 1 million. So because it requires a large scale and it requires it to be market tested. So that's what the TikTok and Facebook external traffic, that's brand. You're building brand at that point where you're going from 1 million to 10 million. But the strategies for going to 0 to 1 million, that's very Google, that's very Amazon, like all these like keyword specific things. That's how you get from 0 to 1 million. So that's what I usually say on a product launch strategy. Invest in Amazon PPC. Yes, you can find the high velocity keywords if you have the budget for it. Yes, go for the high velocity keywords. If you don't have the budget for it, go for long tail keywords. And then I would set like 10 or 20% toward Google campaigns. So that way you can rank a little bit organically if you do have a search intent based product.
All right. Your take on it, David?
Yeah, I mean, the important part came in the end with the budget. The budget is, of course, what matters in the end, what you can target. And if you have the budget, then yes, by all means, go for the high volume relevant keywords as well. And, it's all basically a simple mathematic game. You know your CPCs more or less, after a few clicks, and your click-through rate more or less, and then you maybe have some search volume estimates, and in the end you kind of know, okay, this is the spend that I can expect, and if that's still within your budget, then yeah, go for it. Go for the keyword, and
All right.
but also target those ASINs. I mean, we all love product targeting, especially Victor. So.
I do love my product targeting.
So, guys, I've heard this a lot that it's said that if you want to create a demand of a product, you should go for Facebook ads. But if there is already demand for that product, you should go to Google ads. Do you guys agree, or do you have another take on it?
Yeah, I agree with that. And also like throwing TikTok in there. If you're wanting to generate, I always say there's a difference between a search intent based product and a convenience based product, meaning that when I type in bedsheet, I need a bedsheet right away. So I'm going to type in bedsheet on Google and I need that right away. And then there's a convenience based product. For example, a root beer, for example, like this is a convenience based product. I don't like need a root beer right away. It's like one of those things that I just like drinking root beer. So like if I get a root beer ad on Facebook or TikTok, I'm go, oh, I kind of wanted root beer right now. And then I'm going to buy it and do things like that. I might not search root beer on Google or Amazon, but that's a convenience based product. So that's how I basically answer that question. If you have a convenience based product, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, that's your method. If you have a very search intent based product like a bed sheet, then it's Google, Amazon is usually your strategy.
Okay. So David, I've got a question for you. That what would you choose if you had two options? Option number one is you can launch a product in a competitive or a saturated niche, or obviously with some differentiation or added value, versus an emerging niche. An emerging niche?
Yeah, I'll go for the emerging niche. I don't like competitive niches, honestly. Who likes them? So
Okay.
how do you define emerging? I mean, is it like
But
low search
by
volume
the
or?
emerging niche, yeah, by the emerging niche, I mean that there are like products, trendy products that don't have a lot of keywords, so we cannot
Hmm.
target keywords. So it's really tough. So what do you recommend in such a scenario?
I mean,
TikTok
from an
influencers?
yeah, I mean, if there's no natural traffic, then you have to
Yeah,
create it, and you have to,
yeah.
create that spark in people's mind and create the need, basically. So yeah,
Okay,
that's another use case
okay.
for external marketing.
So what do you think, Victor?
Yeah, like for me, I almost prefer to go in the highly competitive. I've done both. So I've done
Okay,
supplement category, which sucks, and then I've done with the emerging categories where there's like no traffic, that also sucks. So
okay,
I almost prefer the super competitive categories because I would like, for example, if you do like a crazy supplement, like let's just say a testosterone booster supplement, highly don't suggest that. But if you were wanting to die, that's what your category you want to get into. So let's say there's 100,000 searches per month, hypothetically. And I would rather push and take a small subset of that on a long tail search term because there's going to be a million long tail search terms on 100,000 search term velocity on a $100,000 search velocity. So that means there's more things you can go after. Yes, the cost per clicks will be a little bit more, but with the amount, it there's two situations you could do. You in an emerging category, you have to invest probably around $10,000 on Amazon, Facebook, and TikTok to actually generate any demand. Like, let's be honest. Like, external traffic strategies require a lot of broad outreach to actually get anywhere. But you can take that same $10,000 and invest it in long tail keywords on a competitive category and probably see more success. So I would almost recommend going toward the high competitive area and then going for the long tail search terms, even though that both scenarios both suck. But honestly, I would go for the highly competitive one versus the emerging because emerging is hard because you're kind of just in a stalemate. It's always stagnant. We tried scaling those type of things. It's not easy without like a $10,000 budget for external traffic. Once we have that, then it's definitely like let's go to the emerging strategy. But if the clients don't have more than a $10,000 budget, I would say don't even try to go in that emerging category.
okay. So lastly, I'm going to ask you about the challenges that you face right now because you just joined Piranha as vice president of marketing. So what are the challenges for you as vice president, and what are the opportunities there in
Yes,
this role?
yes, definitely. So I would say like some challenges would be just um, So I merged with Piranha basically because I was a business owner. I was managing an Amazon. I did external traffic to Amazon and then also Amazon PPC and everything else like that. But the thing is, the conversion rates on the external traffic were so low compared to Amazon. It wasn't a super effective business. So that's why I ended up merging with Piranha, and it ended up being a really good fit because they do an awesome job on the Amazon advertising side. So basically the biggest thing for me was um taking advantage. It's important to take advantage on the TikTok side still, but it's very hard to attribute sales. So that was the hardest thing for me on the business side. So
Okay.
like my clients would see a $20,000 increase a day on Amazon, but if you were trying to attribute those sales, it'd be very, very difficult because people don't click links anymore. They leave the app, they go to Amazon and they search the search term and buy it. So attribution is very, especially after the iOS 14 update. Don't even get me started on that. It's horrible. So attribution is god awful. So that was the hardest thing for me was the attribution. You would see these sales increases, but it'd be very hard to say, oh, I did that. So that would be my biggest thing was the attribution side has been the hardest part when external traffic. If you're trying to increase sales, attribution.
Awesome, awesome. Best wishes to you. So I've got some questions from the audience. I'm gonna show it. So the question is about product price is 36 pounds and we offer a voucher of 5%. and redemption fee is around half a pound. Our revenue should be 34, but we get around 30 pounds. Can you please explain what other Amazon charges? What is the best choice to go with decreasing price or offering vouchers?
So my philosophy is people don't look at coupons as much as they look at price, is my philosophy. So it depends off your competitors. If you are, let's say your competitor is at 37, 37, like let's just say $37 and you're at $40. What I would recommend is you match the price. And then once you match their price, then put a 5% coupon on if that's what the scenario is. If you're already cheaper than your product, if you already have a cheaper product, you can honestly, let's say if you have a $34 product and your competitors are 37, then you can raise it to 36 and put a 5% coupon on and then go in that direction. So I would analyze your competitors, see what your competitors' price is at, and then really test it out. And if you're more expensive or cheaper, I would match their price as much as humanly possible. I've tried to scale premium products that are double the price of everyone else, and it is like near impossible. So very, very difficult to do. So like I would try to match their customer price as much as possible because Amazon customers care about that a lot.
Okay, so I've got a question for David. We get this question a lot that let's say I've launched a product on Amazon, I don't have any reviews, and the price is market competitive. So I'm doing a break even. So what's the ideal number of reviews? Like, let's say I've got 500 reviews after a lot of months. Can now I increase my price to focus on profitability? What do you suggest should be the right time?
I mean, it depends on the niche. If the other top products on the first page, have maybe 10,000 reviews, then probably you should still, hold off
All
with
right.
going for profitability. And so I don't
All
think
right.
there's a definite answer there. But
Okay.
no.
Okay. So I've got the same question for you, Victor.
So the question was the zero product reviews, or can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah. So we've launched a product just now. We don't have any reviews. We've got a market competitive price, and we are focusing on building a good sales history on our keywords on Amazon. But what is the right time to focus on profitability?
I always focus on profitability after the ramp up. So basically I my goal is to break even, like either honestly most of product launches are negative margin. Let's be honest. It's so competitive now on Amazon that we're working with 100% ACOS sometimes when on product launches. So obviously you're way negative on that. So you have to think about Amazon's halo effect system. So if you ramp up if you go from zero sales per month, you're going to be staying flat. But if you get 10,000, let's say you scale up and now you get $10,000 in sales from your ads, $10,000 in sales, then Amazon's algorithm is going to go, wow, this is having a high sales velocity. I'm going to start increasing this organically as well. So you might get $10,000 in ad sales, but you might get $20,000 in organic sales. So that means you get a total of $30,000. And then once you start ramping it up more and more, the Amazon algorithm will start benefiting you and start ramping that up as your sales velocity increases. So usually on month 3, that's when we start focusing on profitability, however long that ramp up takes. So usually we try to break even, either that or go as least negative as possible. Usually they're negative, let's be honest, but we try to break even as much as possible the first 3 months. And then from there, once we are full scale, then we focus on profitability when we don't have to worry about a cost just as much. So that's my philosophy behind it. A lot of people might see that differently, but that's my philosophy on the Amazon PPC side.
So one thing
Okay.
maybe to add, of course, we have these
Okay.
nice brand metrics these days, so we can look at if our conversion rate is actually getting to a level of our top competitors. So maybe we don't even need that many reviews, and maybe we can even start earlier to go for profitability. It all depends on the niche and the conversion rates, and yeah.
Okay, so if we all agree that Amazon US marketplace is really competitive, but do we have that other marketplaces on the table as well? And do you endorse that we should start with, let's say, a UK marketplace, we should launch a product with the UK marketplace, build a brand, then eventually come to the US market. And which market, apart from Amazon US marketplace, would you recommend?
So I have a client that does that's in the UK, and they absolutely kill it. They were very prominent in US, huge brand, multi-million-dollar brand. And they launched in UK and they started their own UK division. We ran their ads for both US and UK, and they just absolutely kill it. So the CPCs are awesome. CPCs are half what they are on US. I'm working with about 60 cent CPCs right now on UK, so pretty awesome. UK is pretty prominent on Amazon. Once you start, Germany's pretty good, but once you start getting into Spain and these other countries, it's a little like you see so much of a decrease in sales that it's almost that effort of being on there is almost not worth it right now. And I could be totally wrong. Like I've seen people like that does like Amazon Spain for specific products and they absolutely kill it. I have never seen that before. So I have never had success on Amazon Mexico, Amazon Canada, any of these things. I've only seen success on Amazon USA. That is actually worth the amount it takes to be there. If you're in a scale up stage and you're just trying to get as many sales as possible, like you're just like penny pinching almost, then you can do that. But if you're trying to get like full scale on these platforms, like on like for example, Amazon Spain, you're not going to get this $100,000 increase that you expect. On UK, that's pretty valuable. You can actually get to that level on UK. But if you actually want to see scale behind these other countries, I haven't seen it personally. But some people in here might say something different, but that's my experience so far.
All right. All right.
Yeah. So for me, Amazon Germany was always a big thing. Living in Germany and of course having worked having worked for an Amazon aggregator that's based in Germany. So that
Yeah.
was for a lot of our brands the main market. But then also we had to admit, okay, once we expand to the US, Germany suddenly seems
Yeah.
very small.
Mhm.
So on that note, I'm gonna end the session, and I'm gonna mention that we've got another session tomorrow, 10 p.m. same time, with another guest. And thank you so much, David and Victor, for being our guests, and hope to see you guys again very soon.
Thank you
You for
so much
having
for
me.
having me.
Bye, guys.